Okay, so I'm going to be doing a VOD review for VRGL, a Sigma 1 trick. Say you peaked Diamond 1 and now you're stuck in Plat 2. Um, that's definitely like unusual, right? Like I'd say like unless you're tilting, right? Like you usually won't be falling like an entire rank, right? Like I think even if I were in the position where I was tilting, I'd probably only drop like half a rank. Yeah, obviously it's going to depend on the player, right? Usually I'm not too bad with that kind of stuff, but I just to put this in perspective, right? There's going to be variance in this. So I guess part of my question is when you say you peaked Diamond 1, is that like did you make a new account and get that placement as your maximum or something like that, and you just kind of calibrated down to Plat, or was that something you like climbed up towards to actually achieve, right? It sounds like the distinction is kind of arbitrary, but it's not, right? Because new accounts are very, I guess, generous in how high they place players, right? Just combat smurfing for the most part, right? Especially because now I think you only need 20 quick play wins, right? Whereas previously you need 50. So it's very possible for like a Plat player to like do very well within a pretty small in quick play, right? With a pretty small like sample size. But previously, like chances are they'd start losing like considerably more once the matchmaker had more data to work with, because believe it or not, quick play actually does have like MMR, like pretty serious MMR too. Like definitely not as strict as ranked, but it's definitely there for sure. Anyways, you want to know how to carry yourself out of Plat, and you don't know what you're missing for the win, right? So, I went through and watched probably about half this replay, right? I kind of watched maybe 5 minutes in the beginning, skipped around for a bit, right afterwards. I'd say your big three problems right now is that one, you're not appropriately spacing yourself. Sigma is a very awkward tank, right? And I know you said you're a Sigma 1 trick, so I mean, like maybe this doesn't really apply directly to you, right? But like other people coming over from other tanks to Sigma might be a little like taken aback, because he's not really a character that just wants to like run it down, right? Like really the only other tank that's like Sig is Roadhog. I don't know if you've ever played him, but they're kind of similar in how they play, right? Like I one tricked Hog to pretty high ranks previously, um, and picking up a secondary Sig was like really really easy to pick up from my perspective, because their play styles are almost identical, right? And their general positioning is almost identical too, right? What I'm trying to get at is basically you want to be playing kind of like further away than you are now, right? Considerably, roughly at the range of where your projectiles explode, right? So like ideally you want to be positioning yourself so your projectiles will explode like a meter behind, just something like that. Really close to where you're shooting, right? So even if you miss, your projectiles still explode and you get some value, right? But obviously, ideally you want to be going for directs, right? Um, One, obviously, the big benefit is that you can, more consistently do damage because of the nature of your projectiles, right? The second benefit is that you can see more of the map, right? Um, yeah, I mean, it's it's kind of that simple, right? The further away you are, right? I'll just demonstrate that real fast, right? In case you can't envision that. If you're just like standing, for example, right here, right? And you want to shoot people. Obviously, this is like not something that's realistic. If you want to shoot the Genji, you have to do this. You have to shoot the Hanzo. You have to like keep moving your crosshair all over the place. Whereas if you're positioned further back, you don't have to make as many like crazy crosshair movements, right? And you can see where everyone's rotating, right? And thirdly, a lot of characters, especially tanks, can't touch you when you play far away, right? So really Sigma is like Hog, and I bring this up um, for this reason. Whereas like if you just take this straight up fight, when everyone has all their cooldowns available and just kind of like run into each other, you're going to lose because your character is not tanky enough, and doesn't do enough consistent like burst damage to like immediately swing fights, like right, like obviously it's not a one-to-one comparison, but like Hog, like obviously if you hit a hook maybe you can walk forward, but you're just gonna get like stunned and like slept and aided and all that kind of stuff and just damage dumped and die. Sigma's kind of similar, right? Like if you don't hit a rock and just like one shot someone, like you're not gonna be doing enough consistent pressure, because your damage profile isn't that great to just like run forward, right? Or whereas like if a Maul goes close range, he's doing 200 plus damage per second, right? Whereas I think you do like 70 to 80, somewhere in that range, which isn't like that is not very good. But the good thing about Sig is, like I said, you can sit across the map compared to a lot of like especially tanks and just spam them out and work down their resources and then like walk in, right? Secondly, you should be I guess paying more attention to like the player count numbers on your team, right? Um, there are a lot of times you're down players and you're not kiting, right? This kind of goes into point one. It's like the positional issue, right? Where you're just playing too close. I think you see that the other points really build upon that first issue, and that's definitely your primary issue. Um, you're kind of in positions a lot of times you're not even like giving yourself an opportunity to run away just because you're too close, right? And really on Sig, you just want to be kiting away and trying to waste your resources. And then if they overextend when they're down resources, and when I say resources, I mean like HP or cooldowns, right? Then that's a moment you can use your resource advantage to walk forward and like turn the fight for your team. Yeah, but you constantly are like too far forward, especially when your team is down players, right? Which is like not good at all. Third, again, this is definitely like really based on the first thing where you're just too close too often. Your mechanics are just kind of goofy, right? I don't think your aim is particularly like terrible, but you're just playing so close that you're having a hard time tracking these people and you're not getting like the full value out of your kit, right? Especially this goes with rocks. And sometimes you're old too. You're constantly having to like look behind yourself, like 180 and exposing yourself to like not pay attention in the front line, which is like something you just can't afford to do, right? Whereas if you're just again playing a little bit further back, I think it would make these shots like considerably easier, right? Like if you watch really good Sigmas, they're very rarely going for like these crazy 180 like flick plays or whatnot, right? I mean sometimes they do, right? And they hit them because they're good players, right? But like they just don't do it like very often just because their positioning is good in the first place, so they don't need to resort to it, right? And I hope that makes sense, right? So big takeaway, if you take away nothing else from this video, just play further back and I guarantee you will you know, start climbing more. So here I don't really like playing forward. I get your teams set up high ground. Like higher ranks, you'll pretty much just see like you'll pretty much just be parked around point, right? Like maybe early on, depending on their team comp, you can start up here and spam them as they walk in, and then fall back to point, right? Um, yeah, but like as you like, it's still kind of risky. You just don't want to sit up and choke because like it is you just get spammed out too easily. And you have like flank routes on the side that your team can't contest, right? They can't really shoot this doorway. If they just quickly come through here, right, depending on their character roles, right, they can just get on you very quickly. And that's a big problem for you, right? You just don't have enough time to kite away from this positioning here. I don't think it's like the end of the road, especially in Plat, but you can see it's quite awkward as is, right? Small tip with rocks, sometimes you want to wait until people use their cooldowns before you use a rock, right? Let them make their movement really predictable before you go for stuff like that. I don't think it's like a terrible idea, right? If you stun him on the floor, he would have died. I like the shield because it blocks healing, right? But you see now, like their tank has made space. And you see now, this is like I was explaining this a few seconds ago, like when I just conceptually teleported you in the middle of their spawn. Now, like that exact same thing's happened, right? The Genji's top, you can't do anything. The Mercy's in the air, like low percentage shot of hitting. The Hanzo what is like taking this awkward angle, and the Ana is kind of like your easiest target, right? But notice how close they all are, right? You can't get value out of like your projectiles consistently just because you're too close, right? See, everyone's dead around you. I mean, it's kind of your team's fault for dying, right? You got pretty good value against the hazard, but at the same time, like you should note that you got the value from the hazard and be backing up, right? Like if you kill this Ana right now, you're just gonna be out of position anyways, because you know the Genji Mercy behind you. And if they turn around, they're gonna kill you anyway. So like, unfortunate, right? You see, just by like being so close, you're just not able to consistently like get splash value out of your projectiles, right? So what I would have done instead is, one, not been playing so far forward, and two, just kite away once the hazard like jumps in, right? So like right around here-ish, you see you're walking into him. I'm gonna lump this into the mechanics thing. You have a problem that a lot of players have, right? In that when they shoot, they drift towards people, right? When there's no reason to, right? You see you're drifting towards this hazard, right? But like this is kind of this is like really illustrative here. This is kind of cover usage thing here, right? Like if you literally just park right here in AFK, don't move. One, your shot's gonna be easier because all you have to do or worry about is moving your mouse. Two, you're not walking in the open, right? So like if you stand here, you see you can get shot by all these players, right? Whereas if you just hide behind the statue, you can't get shot by anyone but the hazard, which means you're not in danger of dying. And three, you're also moving closer to the enemy team when there's not necessarily a great reason to do so, right? Like, since your shots aren't easier, right? Being when you're closer, right? Like, maybe appreciate, maybe, like a 5% difference. Like, it's better just to like take the easy way out and just sit behind cover and shoot this hazard down, right? You see, because you drift towards them, now people just have swarmed around you, and you're just like your sight lines are just terrible to actually contest people, right? So what I would have done is literally just sat behind this statue and just continue to rotate this way to try to like spam people out at this angle, or like over here, right? Or just open up the angle to spam the Genji, right? You have more options this way, right? Whereas here, you're just like doing the thing I was talking about at the very beginning of the game, just like walking all around and just hoping your team doesn't die because you're just not putting yourself in a position to kite away, should they die, right? So I probably won't take that long on future fights, but I hope to show you, or I hope you see like this fight. You pretty much like everything I was talking about that went wrong, or you're doing like kind of incorrectly, right? Like positioning too close, right? Um, and like the awkward mechanics are all like coming together. So here, yeah, this is why I don't like playing forward on those points, right? You lose like one fight and it's just kind of over on these slower tanks. This is fine. I mean, you're looking at the D.Va a lot. You saw the Genji was above. I'd be intermittently looking up at him, right? He's just more valuable than shooting the D.Va. Because she's just gonna, I mean, it's good that you're wasting her defense matrix, is what Sigma excels at. Because, like, she can't do anything right now. If she flies in, she gets rocked and demeched. Just keep an eye on her, right? And just intermittently shoot some spheres at the Genji, because this is like the perfect range for your spheres to explode, like probably right around in this area, which is like exactly where you want it to be, right? Yeah. So especially because Sigma, right? You have like all this downtime between when you can shoot anyways. Ideally, you shoot, the D.Va for example, and then like once you shoot, you can look at the Genji, see what he's doing. Look back at the D.Va if you want to shoot the D.Va, keep shooting her, right? Or just completely change your target to the Genji, right? Okay, I don't think you meant to drop there. It's a bit of an unfortunate interaction, right? This is good though. You're making the best use of it, right? I probably would have gone for the Genji with your rock, just because he was in the sidelines of your entire team. Good use of cover there, right? Ideally, you want to withdraw your shield earlier, especially because it only has the 1 second withdrawal or the redeploy timer now to like make sure she can't sleep you no matter what. But I do appreciate that you're playing cover there. A lot of Sigmas have the problem of just like floating in the open, right? Yeah, and taking like a ton of damage or just getting stunned for no reason. You see, you're playing like close. You don't have to hold your ground, right? And this is like really important, right? See here, it's whatever. You see, I mean, your projectiles are also bouncing off of the environment, but you see this projectile is coming all the way over here. It's about to explode. When the Hanzo is like half the distance, right? Like, maybe a little more than half, but you get my point, right? Like, why not just back up to make your shots easier? And you see, like, it's just awkward, right? If instead of just standing here, just walking here, right? Like, it sounds really silly, but like, if you just get the explosion damage, right? It only does like half damage, you know, something along those lines. It's doing more than just completely missing, and it gives your team the opportunity to more consistently kill him, right? I mean, you're still forcing him to move around, which is good, but like, you could just be doing more, right? I usually don't talk about perks. I'm really not even sure what this perk is. Is this one where you shoot and get more HP on your shield? If that is, I think that's the better one, generally speaking. Especially if they don't have like a super spammy comp. Um, I think that still has other minor where he gets like the reduced rock for using his eat. Um, yeah, this one's pretty good in my opinion. Here, needless to say, like I don't even know why I didn't bring this up. When you see they like full reset, you don't want to keep sitting in this choke, right? Like you just want to be backing up to defaulting high ground and like seeing where they're going in, right? Because you see, like, especially with their comp, they're gonna take angles that you can't really do anything about, right? Like your only option to like deny that Genji is to right, basically do that 180 rock, which is like really low probability of happening, and it also forces your team to play closer to the choke, which they don't necessarily want to do, right? Like when you're on Mercy, Cass, and Bap, and yourself, you all want to give yourself space to like avoid the enemy team. Whereas like Junker, Queen, and Genji want to get on you guys as fast as possible, right? So if you just give up space at the choke and let them walk, they're gonna have worse poke than you guys and are like generally gonna lose the fight, right? Like if the Hanzo headshots 3, there's like nothing you can do about this, right? You see now, because you're on low ground, you're just in a bad spot. Okay, nice. Actually, really good. The really good use of the whatever shortening splash. I don't even know how to describe it right. Nice kill. Right. Here, I think touching point's okay, right? Like it's really close to the respawners, but like if your team doesn't respawn, isn't back in time, right, and you just die card, like it just doesn't. And if you don't die card, then you just die immediately afterwards. So like, no big problem. Here, I don't really agree with this whole. You guys already used window, and you're already like in lamp, so I don't really think you need to like force the fight. It's not the end of the world for sure, right? It's still like anyone's fight, but not necessary. This is a position where you can actually walk forward, right? Like your team killed the Hanzo, right? I know you're I don't know if you should trust your team, actually. I take that back. Ideally, I trust my team to walk forward, or I should say stay cart, and you can walk forward and shield off the anti-heals from the Queen, but like, I don't know if I'd consistently trust my team, especially in Plat, to be willing to stay cart, right? Ideally, you want to be the one pushing the Queen because you can't die. That's my entire point, but obviously very risky, especially in Plat. Genji obviously went for the back half there, so. Here, like, if you see they don't have like a Sombra or like a Tracer and they're not on like Ball or Doom, I'd be pretty comfortable getting off cart, right? They basically have two ways of coming in, right? Either they come through lower, right, which is a big problem with flankers. Maybe their Genji does something like this, or they come through like this area where you can pretty much see everything from like, you know, down lower. If you just stand here, right, like literally if you stand here, you can see all their options, right? If they go left, you can see that main, or lower, you see all their options. So it's better for you to just walk forward and control kind of the space here, right? If you have the timing down, right, if you did this a bit sooner, you could be like standing up here and spamming choke, you know, farming your ult, wasting their time, right? But just waiting top is just also fine, right? So this is okay, right? Quick tip, if you see the Hanzo's upper, I'd put a shield in his face because he can just one-shot your team, right? Like, it forces him away, and, yeah, right, it just completely, like, blocks the chance he one-shots your team or whatever. Again, this is a position where like you use all your cooldowns, right? You use your rock and you use your grasp. I mean, granted, they use like their dash and their shout too, but this is not where you want to be, all right? When you have no cooldowns, if these people run into you and the Ana doesn't miss her nade, you die. You see, because you kind of like hold the ground, you don't have any space to kite away from these people, and you have no cooldowns, right? Because your cooldowns are too long. They just run into you, kind of win the fight, right? Yeah, I hope that makes sense, right? Like, if you're down cooldowns, you don't want to walk forward. I'd be back spawning here, right? I have no clue why your team walked out there. This is why I'd be back spawning. I don't want to deal with this tank, right? Okay, nice. I'd say small thing for you to work on in the mechanics umbrella is when you're not using your shield, get more ready to withdraw. And you've had this habit the entire game of kind of leaving your shield out when it's not getting any value and it just doesn't recharge. I mean, quite simply, right? Just kill. Here, when you kill the Hanzo, you don't have to just fight main with the queen. You could rotate over here. You see this opens up your angle, right? It gives you access to the Genji, the Mercy, and if you keep rotating this way, right, you can get access to the Ana, right? And you still have your shield, right? So like, if the queen rushes you from this angle, she has to rush in the open and effectively turn her back to your entire team, which is like really bad for her, right? Something to consider, right? Just by opening up the angle, like taking the long distance, right? It just kind of stops the enemy team doing stuff sometimes. I have no clue what that symbol was. That's alright though. This is a position when I noticed this queen was like this low, right? She's just getting blown up by your team. I'd be trying to shield behind her and like rock kill her, right? Just to deny the anti heals, because Mercy heals are like kind of insignificant towards tanks. Good kill regardless, right? Again, right? You're leaving your shield open for way too long. You walk by it for like a second. It's okay, right? Blocking the sleep. Not like you're really in danger of dying, but. Once he's out, just let him go, right? Like, you have to be focusing on trying to keep as many people out as possible. It's okay to do that for the Nano Blade, but you want to be like landing a bit further away, right? You already knew you were down your cast because you got a headshot by the guy. When you end your flux, either react a bit sooner, right, and land up here, you know, or like, I don't know, land back here, right? Just to make it way harder for the enemy team to reach you, right? That is something to keep in mind. When you flux, you obviously have like pretty much infinite mobility and you can land high ground where like you normally aren't going to be able to get to. Obviously, you see the problem with getting just like lingering there. They just run forward for free. Part of it's because you were looking at the Hanzo too long, and part of it's just like you didn't back up and give space, right? Because you weren't paying attention to the number situation. Basically, if you're unsure, it's okay to kill our space. Usually. It's all fine, right? Okay, nice. Horrible res, oh my god. This Ryan's just another free 30% ult charge or something along those lines. Yep. I definitely wouldn't feel compelled to sell on card in this position, right? They don't have any like super good flankers, so this is okay. What I mean to say is this is all okay. See, when you have Shatter, try to save up at least one of your fire strikes so you can fire strike the back line, right? After you shatter them. If your team is all playing really far back, okay, I guess you have no choice. Unfortunately, their RVC gets really low. Um, all right, I guess that's another sim ult, right? I would say, you notice this Hanzo is playing really close if you watch your left, right? Like, look how far forward he is, right? You could definitely try to, like, walk forward and swing on him, right? And just swing here and just force him away and try to get, like, you know, damage on him. Maybe he, like, overextends and dies because you have this sim wall, right? Like, this is obviously not a great sim wall, but you at least might as well try to use it by, like, using it to, like, extend, shield, and then back behind the sim wall to preserve your shield HP, right? Again, right, try to hang on to the fire strikes. Let's see. I guess, yeah, that fight was alright, whatever. So far, so good. Could have done a little bit differently, right? Chiefly just hanging on to fire strikes. You probably could have swung a bit before you pinned that Orisa too. You got a little more value. It's alright. Here, I'd just be shielding. Mercy's healing's pretty bad. And you want to be waiting for armor, right? And if you just shield the Hanzo, he can't kill your Mercy, obviously, and he can't, like, kill you. And you just have to buy time for your respawners to get back. Which is more valuable than trying to, like, chase this Hanzo kill, right? You can definitely back up here. Oh, okay, I didn't watch this part, so. Yeah, you want to back up because you're kind of making the mistake of making yourself really hard to heal, right? You see you're, like, in this area here. I don't know where you're... Okay, your Baptiste is here, and you see your Baptiste has to come all the way out here to heal you, which means, like, this entire distance he's traveling from spawn, he, like, can't see you until, like, right around here. He may have come from, like, over here, too, which is not ideal, but whatever. It's okay to back up right when you're waiting for spawners. Unfortunate. I didn't think you were going to pin that either, so good kills. Okay. I'm not going to nitpick that one too much, but the big problem is you should have just stalled and, like, paid more attention to, like, the player situation in your team and, like, reacted appropriately. All right. I think swap back to Sig. Yeah. I guess you're waiting to see if there's, like, a sim TP or something. If you expect there's going to be a lot of spam, for example, like if your team is walking, like, 5-stacking with you down a choke point, it's perfectly acceptable to use your to grasp, just eat a ton of, like, spam and fare your team in, right? Because you're pretty much indestructible, right? Unless they have specific, like, a specific team comp, right? If you use your grasp for, like, 2 seconds, so you just walk in, eat spam for your team, and then set up at an angle with, like, you know, 200 extra HP. And you're not going to be punishable because you're going to be, like, playing far away, and you're going to have that extra HP. You see how much value you're getting here? I'm going to, like, make a note of this. Like, your aim can be slightly better, right? This is why I specify it's a mechanics issue and not an aim issue, right? But just by spamming this high ground, right, at the appropriate range, you're just hitting someone every single time, right? And that's, like, good enough. Here, before you do something like this, just shield off your back, right? Just so they can't shoot you from the behind, right? Yeah, you see you take a ton of damage there, and you probably should have grasped earlier and just shielded off your, like, your blind side, just so you don't get that low, but they all run away, so it's alright. Again, right, you're getting a little close, and, like, it's just really hard to hit me when you're this close. So again, just walking towards them when you have no reason to. You see, just by doing this, it's really hard to track them. You have literally no reason to do this, right? Your entire team's just kind of dead here, right? Like they've just been slowly killed off, so not really great ult, right? Like you hit good people and they had no sleep, so I get it. You had players, but you just had literally no one in your team alive there, right? It was just like you and one other person.
The answer remains hello.
And be careful, you're still down 2 here. I think both your DPS are dead, so all the eyes are going to be on you, which is especially a problem with Mercy, because she like doesn't really give the value to the tank. It's probably too early, right? Your team just wasn't back yet. Yeah. So you just walked forward too quickly because your team wasn't back, right? Like let me show you what their positioning was like on this walk up. Let's see here. Right, you see they're literally walking back right now, and you're actually kind of fortunate you had a sim. So she's back a little sooner, right? Like your cast was only able to shoot like 4 times by the time he was actually able to like reach the fight, right? And this is obviously like in third person. I hope it was pretty obvious that you were just going way too fast there, right? Like should your team have staggered in the first place? No, but like same to you, right? So. Oops. I'd imagine you meant to stay up there. It's alright, whatever. Again, those, like, when you take teleporters like that, that's a good opportunity for you to use a grasp, right? If they nano blade, instinctually back up, I guess, to give yourself a better angle. Like honestly, losing fight to nano blade when you don't have like flux yourself isn't the end of the world. So that's why I'm not like worrying about that too much. Like it's usually okay to lose fights and ults. Like if you don't use ults yourself, it's like whatever. Okay. I guess it does end. It's fine. Again, another opportunity for you to use your grasp on the walk up, just so your team doesn't eat spam and you get like overhealth, right? You're already up players. They're down their DPS, so like it's not gonna be likely at all that you die. This is fine. You could be going forward because you already have like 3 others on cap and just getting spam damage in, but it's not the end of the world. I mean, you already have your ult, and like just guaranteeing the cap is good. Again, you're doing that thing when you're drifting forward, right? And it's messing up. I think it's messing up your aim quite a bit, right? I'll show you 2 again. Alright, you see you're kind of just like jumping back and forth, and then you just like walk forward through the rock, and like you can't track the guy because like you're just inputting so much unnecessary movement. Good try. Just be aware that you have to look straight up to block that ult with your shield, right? This isn't, in my opinion, a very good ult because again, like your sim actually has a decent wall this time, and the Mercy wasn't doing anything because she was rezzing, and this hazard is already weak, right? So like, chances are the fight's already in your favor. It's not like the worst ult ever, but you probably could have gotten away with it. Is my point. Okay, I like this ult, or I like this perk on this map. I don't even know what the other one is. Not off the top of my head at least. But you see, you can sit on low ground and float high ground. And on blast is pretty useful too. Nice. I will note, I don't know if you're aware, but like if you caught it there, you can actually shoot like around the Genji behind him or behind his deflect in particular with your projectiles, and they'll explode behind him and do damage to him still, even through deflect. So something nice to keep in mind. The same with shields. Like if someone's holding a shield, and you're at the appropriate distance, you can blow up the projectiles or the shield and still do damage. Getting a little close, right? just hard for you to like consistently do stuff. Unfortunate. Your entire team died around you. I'm sure if you imagine if you didn't just kind of walk forward for no reason though, you would have had a much better like, if you were the fight, you may have been able to like contest the people that are walking high ground on your team, right? Which is like the big threat.
The payload must move. No, no.
60 seconds.
This is fine. You can start walking. Like it seems like you're waiting for your team, but like if you peek, or if you don't peek, these people have nothing to do but shoot your team, right? If you make yourself a threat, then they actually have to split their attention, and that allows your team to walk, right? So maybe you're trying to do like a TP strat or something. I'm not entirely sure. I think your shield broke. Losing this fight's whatever. Hopefully, I don't think you'll have enough time to touch card, unfortunately. Again, though, in principle, losing fights to like 2-3 ults and you invest none is like okay. Yeah, I think this is the end. I'm just gonna zoom forward a bit. Yeah. Okay, so right, like I'm sure you can see this game. There are a lot of opportunities. If you just played slightly better, it wouldn't have even needed to be this close in the first place, right? And I'll reiterate again. I think your biggest problem by far is that you're just playing way too close the vast majority of the time, right? Like a SIG, there are like some timings where you want to like kind of brawl and get close in neutral, but the vast majority of the time you want to be like playing to poke people out, waste their resources, and then like commit for the walk forward when they're already down on resources, right? Secondly, I want you to pay better attention to the number situation on your team, especially, right? Because there are a lot of timings this game where you just kind of like I mean, a part of it like plays into the first part, right? Where you're just too far forward and just like overcommitting on kills when you really should be giving space and like waiting for someone to overextend so you can actually turn the fight, right? Like if you get a kill and trade as tank, especially as like SIG, right? Like it's just like a waste of time because you're so slow, and it just doesn't take that many resources to kill you because you're not very bulky, right? And third, again, a general mechanics thing, right? Like I brought some, I guess I'll say mechanics, cooldown usage kind of thing, right? Where you should be really looking to like optimize the usage of your primary fire, right? And like your rock, right? Wait for them to use movement cooldowns and commit to like some sort of predictable pattern. And shield, right? We talked about that. You be more willing to withdraw your shield when it's not in use, and don't be afraid to use your grasp in like these damage lane areas where you're anticipating a lot of damage is going to come down, right? But like the big takeaway is like when you're too close, you're just making these shots way harder than they need to be. And again, you have that like tendency that a lot of players do where they just kind of walk forward when there's no reason to, right? Like if you can stand still and just aim, it's just gonna like greatly increase the odds of you hitting stuff compared to like getting like a few meters closer, but just like having a hard time reacting to what the enemy's doing, as a result. I hope this helps.